again for another video. So, let me turn this thing go. Okay, so okay, but anyway, read a text message, but freaking watch. It looks all scratched up because that's just the film I left on it. I haven't taken it off yet. Oh, my finger's dirty. But anyway, so what I want to talk about today, that's why I'm here. Don't mind me. So what I want to talk about today is authenticity. Now, while this may be, I believe it is a fundamental. Let me turn my heater off. And the reason why I believe it is a fundamental is because it spells out individuality. There are no two people in this world who are alike. None. There are no two things in this world that are alike. We have likenesses, but no two things are exactly alike. Because once again, that would imply that two things are equal, and therefore would imply that things are perfect. There's no such thing as perfect in this world. So everything is differentiated relative to other things and by other things that are similar but are not exact. Why I bring this up? Well, I've had an interesting past couple of weeks. How can I put this? I've run across catfish. One you guys may have ran across and thought this person was actually who they said they were, but turns out they weren't. I'm actually going to be making a show about this, and this is to piggyback off of Kendra's talking points of there being male and female incels. Now, a lot of people would think, well, how we understand that they are male incels, but how can there be female incels? Because apparently, you know, there's some guy out there that wants to have sex with, you know, any female, you know, so he'll choose her to have sex with. But here's the thing. Just the same as women don't pay the same consequences as men, and vice versa. The way a male incel looks is going to be different than how a female incel looks. Just because a woman is getting sex doesn't mean that she's not an incel. That's the thing you have to keep in mind. Now, why do I bring this up with authenticity? Well, so to explain the female incel. The female incel is one who is deep into the fantasy world, meaning that she has barely anything to latch on to that is her reality. She lives her life in disbelief, and this oftentimes makes her socially awkward. You ever run across that woman who is just so far-fetched in the way that she sees the world that she's not that attractive because of it? Even though she may look great on the outside, but that's on the outside. What are you going to do with her mind when she's so far detached from the reality? You can't do anything with it. And this is the thing that men run into. And she basically places herself out of the market due to living in such a grandiose fantasy world that does not exist. And that also goes on to what I like to call the female incel, and what I recently went through. I ran across a woman here on YouTube. She has a decently well-known name. She actually used to run a channel. And she was intrigued by some of the things that I said when I was talking on a panel not too long ago. I believe this was on Raining Woman's channel. Yes, it was. And this was Talks, Womb Talk. That's the name of her show. And also, I was on a panel with Judge Dre. Well, this individual was in the chat room. And she then later, after the show, messaged me on Hangouts. And from that point on, we began to talk and share ideas. Now, I got to learn this person through this. And, you know, I took the person as face value. But there were a few things that were off kilter about who she was and how she came about this knowledge. Not to say that just because you come about a certain knowledge, you know, you're not authentic. But there were certain things that did not add up with her story. I'll tell you a little history about me. Once again, I am the wolf in Beta Clothes. The wolf is definitely a hunter. The wolf is definitely a defense. It is both attacker and defense. It's offense and defense, most definitely. Because I grew up in an environment where I had to portray myself as something that I wasn't in order to survive. And I learned through that how to harness what the wolf was. But the wolf was too aggressive. So I had to go into beta clothing, if you will, so that I can further blend in with the crowd around me. Now, most people will wonder, why would you do this? Would you want to stand out? Detroit is not the place to stand out. The flashiest people, the most outspoken, the most anything, you have a target on your back. So blending in was my best bet of survival. But like I said, I carried those things on into my adulthood. But anyways, as I grew older, I learned to know, I kind of critiqued when I would let my wolf out, because it was necessary sometimes. And this is one of the times that my wolf came out. Now, a little bit more about me. I joined the military a long time ago. I fought multiple wars. And in one of the wars that I fought, it was in Afghanistan. I was doing ground intelligence and counterintelligence. So finding out about people and learning human nature was very much my, it got added to the wolf's arsenal belt. And I use this in my day-to-day life now. So when I ran across this person and I started to analyze them, I picked up on a few things, like I said, that were off kilter about their personality, because they didn't add up to me. So I did my own personal investigation. And I actually found out that this person was catfishing. It's very interesting. But anyways, that's going to be in another video. It's going to be entertaining. You can believe that. You guys this will blow your mind of the person, of who this is. This person has been on many panels. This person had it, like I said, had their own channel. This person knows exactly what they're talking about and how to talk it. But out of all the people that she's run across, thousands of people possibly, I was the one that cracked the case. But anyways, people sleep on my intelligence. I have, last time I was tested, I have 134 IQ. So, just to put that in perspective. But anyways, this goes back to authenticity. The reason why I bring up authenticity is because you have to be, I got a call. But anyways, you have to be who you are. There are many organisms in this world, and they all play a role into our ecosystem. So if a lion all of a sudden wanted to play like a gazelle, the ecosystem behind the lion would fall, because that is not its niche. It's not where it's supposed to be in the chain. If a fish wanted to be a frog, it's going to mess up the ecosystem. Not saying that these animals have an individual preference of what they want to be, but just say that if we lived in the world where animals could pick what role they wanted to play, our ecosystem wouldn't be what it is today, including the severe impact that would have on humans. Now, the reason why authenticity is important is because there is only one you. Only one you. There is no one else like you in this world. You are part of the social and biological ecosystem that makes up the human race. Without you, things will go on. Although at the same time, with you, there is a benefit that you have to offer to the human race. Every single person on this earth has something positive to offer to the race. And this is why being the best version of you is important. Because when you're the best version of you, you offer something to the ecosystem around you. You offer something not only to the ecosystem, but to yourself. You have an increased quality of life. You have an increased quality of intelligence. You have an increased quality of consciousness. These things are very, very important. I know I say that a lot. Seems like everything I say is very important. Well, it's because it is. It really is. It's really important. But it's also very important for you to be yourself, because you have something to offer this world that no one on this entire planet can offer in the way that you offer it. You are part of this ecosystem. So, be authentic. Be yourself. Work on the things that make you you. Work on the things that are pulling at you to be something else other than yourself. Work on getting those things out of your life, because those things are a detriment to you. I mean, there's a reason why firefighters wear flame resistant clothing and they don't wear, cops uniforms. Because if they go into a burning building, they're not protected for the job that they were meant to do in the position that they hold. Wear your clothing. Wear your personality, because that is your best defense and offense. This will protect you. This will keep all the fuckery out of your life. Well, I can't say it will keep it all out, but it'll keep it at bay. It'll be a revolving door of fuckery coming in and instantaneously going out. Because the better you become at being yourself, the more you're going to attract the things that are better for who you are, that are more suited for who you are, than attracting something that was meant for someone else that is not suited for who you are. So, the message is, be authentic. Be yourself. Be what you were put here to be. But anyways, this has been my message. This is the Wolf and Beta Close. Comment, like, and share as usual. It's not necessary, but like I said, it gives me feedback and lets me know that I'm on the right direction. But until next time, peace be with you, and may you have a good day. I'm out. Oh yeah, I almost forgot to explain another part. Yeah, it's a completely new day. I do pre-recordings on these things. So anyways, the other part that I want to explain is the actual female incels. Why this looks different and how this is different. Hold on, let me take this earpiece out. Why this looks different and why this is different is because, once again, like I said previously, women experience things completely different than in the way men do, and that's because of our different natures. How the female incel exists is because she is not she is not received as who she is. She's only received as who she portrays. Now, this is different from men, but kind of the same, because if you really think about it, these men are not received as who they are. Now, let's really look at this. Let's dive into it real quick. So, how many prosthetics do men use to change their appearance or change the way they are viewed? Not many. I mean, men have to be grounded in reality, and it's rare that we can escape the reality because we are held to a physical accountability due to our natures. Whereas women, they are not. That's the reason why you have a lot of these women who end up getting procedures done, who wear a lot of makeup, who wear weave, etc., who wear waist tighteners and all this crazy stuff, because they can change their perception, but they are not received as who they are. So that is what makes them incel, because it's not okay. Let me explain. So a male incel, once again, like I said, is not received for who he is. He cannot escape that physical reality. And there are not many things that he can use prosthetically to change that, other than actually putting in the work to become something different than what he is, because his worth, quote unquote, is existentially tied to how much he cultivates himself, and that's his body, mind, and soul, including the spirit. And this goes the same for women, but it just looks different, because women, they like I said, put on a huge front, and then when you actually get to know them, that's when you're like, that's not what I want in my life. And she gets cast to the side. That's how she becomes an incel. It's not necessarily geared towards her sexual marketplace, because this isn't something that women have a problem with for the most part. Is geared towards her longevity to sustain a relationship, just like the male has that same issue, except for his is existentially immediate, whereas she can prolong and put off her I guess you can say, I'm so lost for words because it's in the morning, but put off her what's the word I'm looking for? Her core attraction, meaning that she can put barriers in between that before the guy actually figures out what kind of person she is, and thus gets cast aside, like I said. So that's just a quick, a quick explanation of the female incel. Hopefully I can delve into it a little bit more and explain to you guys kind of how this works, but that's just a quick overview on it. I didn't want to make this video super long, but I did remember that I didn't even really talk about the female incel as much. But this goes back into being accepted as the unique person that you are. That's what the topic spun from, and how to explain the female incel, because these are two things that men and women experience existentially and actually intrinsically, intrinsically, but it's more so a difference depending on the nature of male and female. But anyway, this has been the Wolf and Beta Close, and I shall see you guys on the next go around. Like, comment, and share, like I said previously, and I'm out.